Welcome to the JCPS MTSS training for the Self-Reflection and Assessment Toolkit with a focus on self-reflection and goal setting. I am Bo Burkett, an MTSS engagement resource teacher for high schools, and with me is Dominique Dobson-Penn, an MTSS engagement resource teacher for elementary AIS schools. Please take a moment to type the case-sensitive bit.ly into your web browser. This will allow you to access all links for all the activities offered throughout the presentation. Here you will see the 6 components that make up the MTSS department, or multi-tiered systems of support. MTSS focuses on overall school improvement by aligning resources and support for both teachers and students. We provide multiple levels of support for learners that address academic, social, emotional, and behavioral needs, and produce professional development that is aligned with schools and the district as a whole. As shown on this concept map, JCPS has 3 departments within MTSS. MTSS Academics, directed by Donna Lawson, focuses on Tier 2 and Tier 3 interventions and supports schools by ensuring teachers are providing all students with academic supports. The MTSS Behavior Department, directed by Sandra Hensel, supports schools in implementing school-wide behavior systems and frameworks, including positive behavior interventions and supports, PBIS, and the Behavior Support Systems Model, which is an alignment of PBIS and restorative practices. Our department is MTSS Engagement. The goal of our department is to increase student achievement by equipping teachers with high-yield pedagogical practices to maximize student engagement. 6 MTSS toolkits were created to provide resources for Tier 1 instructional practices to increase student engagement, reduce student behaviors, and to decrease disproportionality. The director of our department is Dr. Naomi Brahim. This image shows the 6 MTSS toolkits. By clicking on the image, you will access the MTSS department webpage and each toolkit. Students tend to have a very clear understanding of what they know. Self-reflection and assessment allows students to accurately predict how they will perform on a given assessment. Teaching students to set appropriate goals leads to higher student learning outcomes and increases the confidence in students who meet or exceed goals. It is important to note that research has shown that minority students and students with disabilities tend to underestimate their achievement. In today's session, we will develop an understanding of the importance of student goal setting and student self-reflection. By the end of the session, you will be able to guide students through the cyclical process of reflection, goal setting, and action planning. As Patty McGee states, reflection is the stickiest glue for the brain. When students take time to consider what they have learned and how they have grown, the learning is longer lasting and much more impactful. When you combine reflection and goal setting, you have a powerhouse merger that transforms learning. When learners reflect and then intentionally set goals from those reflections, beautiful things start to happen. Learners can invest deeply in their own learning, recognize strengths and next steps, and seek out opportunities to learn, ask for specific feedback customized for their personal growth, see daily learning as part of a larger journey to meet a goal, build ownership and agency, nurture their own growth mindset, and learn much more with greater depth of understanding and joy. Teachers should strive to provide time for learning to, Teachers should strive to provide time for students to jot their reflections down in open, non-graded experiences. An excellent place to start is by providing reflective questions that have that help the student consider what he or she has learned over time and imagine where he or she would like to go next. Sample reflection questions include: what was significant learning for you in the last unit? What did you learn about yourself as a learner or writer, reader, social scientist, mathematician, or whatever the subject area may be? What was your favorite mistake and what did you learn from it? What feedback did you get from your teacher or other students that was important to you? What are strengths you noticed about yourself? What are next steps in your learning journey? Looking ahead to the next unit, what are some challenges you imagine? And what strengths can you bring to meet those challenges? If your students have not set goals for themselves in the past, it may be beneficial to share a list of goals from which they can choose. Many teachers have the student choose a goal, and then the teacher will also choose a goal for him or her. The more experiences students have in designing goals, the less support you will need to provide.
In this video, you will see elementary students reflecting on their goals. The teacher has set routines to allow students the opportunity to set goals and reflect in their classroom.
I approach goal setting just as a weekly thing that we do. The kids are very used to it. On Monday morning, they know that they come in, they get unpacked, and then they're going to set goals for the week. This first quarter, I like to just sort of introduce the whole idea of goal setting to them, just coming up with 3 goals for themselves. What kinds of goals do we usually write on Mondays? Nathan, what do we usually do? Personal goal. Jace, what else? A friendship goal. Jordan, what else? A school goal. Today what we're going to do is you're going to pick one of those goals. And what we're going to do today is we're going to think of some action steps. I think it forces them to really reflect on themselves and think about, okay, what is it that I need to work on this week? And by 5th grade, they have tests to prepare for, they have study guides, and they are very aware and are clear on the objectives that we're covering. So I think it just makes them more self-aware of what they need to get done. I want you to get with your partner, share with them the goal that you want to work on this week, and talk it out. What are some ways that you can work on your goal, and then swap? When I have students pair up to share their goals with each other, it just gives them an opportunity to collaborate with a friend and to hear what they're working on. And if their goal isn't specific enough, their friend can maybe catch it and say, well, what about soccer are you going to try to get better at? Or what about social studies are you going to try to focus on?
What kind of goal was that? A school goal?
It was a school goal.
Mine was a personal goal.
A challenge I have about goal setting is that sometimes they're too big and sometimes they're too hard to accomplish. I think about my goal, and whenever it's too hard or too challenging, I think about it and I say, well, that goal was too challenging. Action steps help me with goal setting by giving me some ideas of what to do. It guides me through my goals.
I'll go to bed a little bit more early so I can
Okay.
make sure
Okay, so you're gonna get all your bedroom routines early, that way you can get to bed earlier. Okay. In terms of conferencing with students about their goals, it's not something that I can get to every week, and it's not something I can get to with every single person, but I try my best to just at least have a quick chat with the kiddos about what they're working on, especially when I look at their goals and I see something that maybe concerns me, or maybe I didn't know that they were taking part in. For teachers who haven't done goal setting before, I would definitely say don't be afraid. I feel like a lot of times it seems like it's something that's going to take up a good portion of your day, and it doesn't have to. I have found that if I share with them a Google document with a chart, I can at any time go in and look to see what they're working on, and I can see very clearly which kids didn't set a goal for that week. It helps so much to get to know your kids, and I feel like you're a much better teacher when you know what's going on.
In this next video, we will see how Ms. Quintero uses goal setting in her classroom in a high school setting.
A new school year is about to start, filling these classrooms with students. Each student has their own interests, their own dreams. They each learn in their own way at their own pace, and each one will set their goals for what they want to learn and achieve this year and beyond.
We're getting ready to start our new school year, and I teach 9th graders, and I want to make sure that they get off to a good start. In my classroom, goal setting plays an important role. If we don't know where we want to get to, if we don't have a destination in mind, we are going to end up lost. At the beginning of last year, I had a student named Laura Escobedo, and when she came into class and we took a look at her data, we realized that she was reading far below grade level. I sat down with her, we looked at her reading abilities, and we made goals to increase the reading ability.
I'm studying more, reading more because of the goals I have to become better.
Hemos visto que va paso a paso, agigantados, yo diría, el progreso de mi hija.
She was able to meet those goals, and she was recognized as the top 9th grade student for her progress.
I was surprised when I got the award. I didn't think it was going to be me.
Nos emocionó mucho mi esposo, a mí, a toda la familia. Vi a mi hija, la emoción que tenía en sus ojos, no lo podía yo creer. Nos emocionó bastante.
The most beneficial aspect of goal setting is that student ownership. They now have created a goal that they have ownership of, that they want to achieve, and so as a teacher, I'm not dragging them along, they're actually going on their own.
Here are some key takeaways from the videos when implementing goal setting and reflection in your classroom. It is important to model setting goals and how to reflect. Make goal setting a priority, set a routine and procedure for goal setting and reflecting with peers. When you create a positive classroom community, students can coach each other and receive feedback from their peers. This will lead to students having ownership of their own learning and drive students to want to achieve. When helping your students write goals, remember the Goldilocks rule. You want their goals to be just right for them, not too broad or not too specific. In the video, a student mentioned how his goal was too hard. However, he adjusted his goal and went from there. There are some suggested goals on this slide, but remember, goals are tailored to meet the student's needs. When thinking about writing goals with students, remember to help the student keep their goal in kid-friendly language. The word will has been left out because a goal is a target, and once reached, there isn't a need for a will. Goals are not set in stone. Students can adjust their goals as needed. It is important after goal setting to guide students to create an action plan for attaining their goal. There are some suggested reflective questions and statements to help the student make their plan on this slide. Encourage students to reflect on their goal and plan often in order for students to set intentions for their work. Reflection can happen with a peer, in a small group, or individually. Reflection time can be a quick 3 to 5 minute check-in, or it can require a little bit more time. This slide has a few questions to help students reflect on goals and revise their action plans as needed, such as what can I do today that will help me work towards my goal? Or what are my intentions for the work time that we have allowed it today? Eventually, we want to foster self-reflecting learners so they can say, I know where I'm going. Students understand where they are currently performing and how it relates to the learning intentions and success criteria. They may also say, I have the tools for this journey. Students have a bag of strategies to choose from in order to move their learning forward, especially when progress is interrupted. They also may say, I monitored my progress. So students seek and respond to feedback from their peers or even their teachers as they determine their own performance. They know they can learn from their mistakes and use their mistakes as an opportunity for future learning. Self-reflecting learners can also say, I recognize when I'm ready for what's next. Students interpret their data in terms of learning intentions and success criteria of the lesson, as well as their progress towards learning to help them know when they are ready to move on. They also will know what to do next. Knowing how to keep pushing and not giving up, even when challenges may arise, is the essence of a lifelong learner. Let's take a few moments to reflect about what we have learned so far. Jot down your answers to the following reflection questions. What are some of the methods you use to manage agency, ownership, expectations, and goal setting within your classroom? What are some methods you would like to implement?
As always, with any HYP or strategy we use, we have to take into account culturally responsive, ECE, and deeper learning considerations. For self-reflection and assessment to be culturally responsive, it should use measures of success that validate the population being assessed, integrate performance assessments, employ curriculum-based assessments that are culturally responsive, adopt a growth mindset to learning, utilize open-ended statements to allow for self-reflective practice, and provide students with rigorous grade-level instruction. Some exceptional child education considerations for self-reflection and assessment are as follows. Increase the opportunities for students to display problem-solving skills. Use explicit instruction, guided practice, and model how-to strategies for problem-solving. Teach students how to set goals and allow students to evaluate their learning. And lastly, some deeper learning considerations for self-reflection and assessment. Students must be taught to measure their own progress and determine next steps through tracking goals, self-reflection, self-assessment rubrics, checklists, and/or reflective journals. All of these strategies help students answer the following questions. What have I learned? Where am I struggling? And what's next? In order to help with implementing self-reflection and goal setting, we have provided you with the Plan, Do, Study, Act, or PDSA tool, which is linked to this slide. During an upcoming PLC, be sure to discuss ways to implement your self-reflection and assessment within your instruction. If you want to learn more about self-reflection and goal setting, please access the following resources. Thank you for joining us to learn more about self-reflection and goal setting. If you would like more information about the MTSS toolkits and other high-yield practices, please visit our website by clicking on the link.